Hey there, and welcome back to another Beyond Clean Expert Series. You're watching the Borescope Expert Series with our experts Andy Sundet and Frank Daniels. I'm your host, Bobby Parker, and on today's episode, we're asking the question of whether or not borescopes being used on endoscope reprocessing is helpful or not. There are a lot of opinions out there in the industry, either from manufacturers or from studies out there, that maybe this disruptive technology is disrupting too much. It's bringing up maybe more questions that aren't helpful than ones that are, or maybe that it can be a useful tool, but maybe the language and standards shouldn't be as firm of recommendation as what they are. So that's what we want to crack open today. And Andy, I'll pitch it over to you first. Borescopes being used inside endoscopes, helpful or not?
Yeah. Great question. And I think the whole industry, like we said in episode one, disruptive. Borescopes have kind of unearthed some issues inside devices that no one knew was really going on. And so what I would say is that's something that's concerning for us as a manufacturer. When we go around to hospitals and see this, you can't unsee this, as Frank said before. And so shaver handpieces, their IFU talks about inspecting the inside of the device with light and magnification. That's the first IFU. So Bobby, you mentioned IFUs and then standards and guidelines. So at this point, endoscopes don't have the strongest language about borescope use.
Right.
I would say, right now we're leaning on cleaning verification, leak testing. Those are the other ways to kind of look at the condition and the cleaning efficacy here on these devices. But a borescope does provide a very interesting tool to visualize and see how those things are going. So what I would say is two things that I want Frank to highlight, because he's done an incredible body of work here with a lot of his research and implementing a very powerful program, is damage and condition of the endoscope specifically on this topic, and also foreign objects. Those are the two things that I think Frank would probably say might keep him up at night. And now that we have this tool to look inside, how can we use it? So Frank, can you talk a little bit about your body of work and what the research has shown for you?
Absolutely. Of course, I have seen the borescopes be a useful tool that we use in everyday life. I like to reference the article in BINT that impact of borescope inspections on endoscope repair frequency and cost. It shows that the average cost of repair has went down right about $2,100 on average, and has dropped right at 9% over the course of 2 or 3 years. So having that, and then the repair turnaround time decreasing too, it was a difference of 9 days. So imagine having that flexible scope back quicker after it goes out for repair. So that's a win-win, and at the end of the day, it's allowed us to decrease our fleet size, which we don't want to have capital just hanging on the shelf and not being used.
Yeah. Yeah, Frank, you say you like to reference that study. I just want to rewind and underline and call out that your name is listed in the author line along some others on that study. So I want to dig just a little bit deeper into that. You mentioned a reduction in repair costs, a reduction in repair turnaround time, and those are obviously really important if you're running an endoscope reprocessing program. Reduction as compared to what? Are these scopes that, after implementing borescopes, you were able to catch damage earlier and more often and address it more appropriately that way?
Absolutely. So we've decreased the amount of major repairs because you figure we are using a flexible scope. It's composed of rubber, so it's going to degrade over time, and we're throwing the hardest chemicals at it. So we're getting them more minor repairs, so they are being able to send out a cheaper repair before we get that catastrophic, $10,000+ repair, and therefore we're getting it back quicker because it's a small repair, get it back. But this is allowing us for the longevity of scopes to actually increase over time too. So on average, we were seeing more uses out of the scopes due to us catching problems earlier.
We'll make sure to include a link to that study as well. Just diving into damage, because to your point and to yours as well, Andy, if you're if you're trying to identify damage in an endoscope, a cleaning verification test is probably not going to help you. And maybe the kink in the channel is going to catch a little bit more debris and make it more likely to fail that cleaning verification test, but you might have a very clean, damaged scope. And so being able to identify that is an important consideration when we're talking about this question of how useful it is. I started the episode saying that there are a lot of opinions out there about its usefulness. I know, some scope manufacturers, they get a lot of questions from Borescope users about markings inside of scopes that are actually supposed to be there. This is the way the scope is made. And then as standards and guidelines are being written, I think everybody recognizes the usefulness of borescopes in some respects, but maybe not everybody agrees how useful. So I think I want to end this this conversation with just asking the follow-up question, like, how necessary is a borescope to an endoscope reprocessing program for it to succeed? Like, is it a necessary tool or just one that would be kind of nice to have, like at the bottom of your wish list?
Well, then I'm going to ask, how much is peace of mind worth? Because at the end of the day, I can assure you every scope that comes to my facility that's used on a patient is 100% clean, and therefore it allows it to be disinfected or sterilized. Is it a necessity? It is, because you can't unsee the stuff has seen over the 200,000 borescope inspections. And to see where we came from, where scopes used to be and where they are now, they're just getting more intricate designs to ensure that it can do all these other functions, but we still got to clean it. We still have to disinfect it. It still has to be safe for a patient. So therefore, it is a necessity. We have to have that in our toolbox, just like any tradesman. You got to have the right tools for the job. And if I want to set my team up for success, this has to be in my toolbox.
Yeah, and I love that it's been such a big part of your story. Looking forward to hearing more about how you're able to pull that off every scope, every time, but that's a topic for another day. Andy, I'll give you the last word here. Are borescopes a necessary tool if you want to succeed in endoscope reprocessing?
Well, I think the industry's grabbing their hands around that now and wrapping their heads around it. So I would say my opinion is yes, based off of what we're seeing, based off of some of the early research that Frank, Corey Ofsted's another name that jumps out a lot with a lot of the great body of research out there. So if I look at other industries, we got airline industries that are inspecting equipment that gets used on a regular occurrence. Our cars, even as simple as that, we have regular maintenance, we have regular checkups, but things do go wrong. This is complex equipment. And so if we look at it with that lens, I think that there's, now that there are tools to look inside these instruments, why wouldn't we? We can, and Frank's research here is showing that not only is there other opportunities to improve patient readiness of the device, but we can now catch damage earlier. We can probably train team members on how to reduce that type of damage while looking at these pictures and videos. And then all the other data points that we'll point out with that BINT research article. So I think that, yes, I think there's a very compelling argument that we can really improve on a lot of multiple data points and make departments run smoother with borescope use.
Yeah, well, there you have it. If you have some further questions about the necessity of borescopes, or maybe you're getting some pushback and aren't really sure how to answer that question at your facility, I'm sure Andy and Frank would love to continue this conversation with you. You can find their contact information in the video description. We've got a lot more borescope content headed your way in this series, so make sure to stay tuned. And until we talk to you again next time, on behalf of Frank, Andy, and myself, keep fighting dirty. See you next time.